All right, welcome into another episode of the Butt and Breneman Show, the moment you guys have all been waiting for. And let me just give a compliment to my guy, Adam Breneman. It is a beautiful hair day today, just fresh off the plane. So you guys don't understand what a treat it is to have Adam with us this morning. He's a busy man, but he's squeezing out time to break it all down for us, man. Who does your hair? What kind of hair gel are you using?
No hair gel, just a blow dryer. I landed at LaGuardia Airport about 45 minutes ago, took a taxi, didn't want to be late because producer Rue would yell at me if I was late to this
You don't want to be on Rue's bad side.
So I hopped in the shower quick and got on here because we got a lot to talk about, Jake.
We do. Well, let's kick it off with the big time news. Your alma mater made the decision to move on from James Franklin last week, man. I don't even want to lead you in any direction. I just want to give you the floor. Where are you at with things?
Yeah, it's shocking how fast this really unraveled for Penn State. To think that really 2.5 weeks ago, Penn State is playing Oregon in the whiteout game, has a lead in overtime. If they win that game, probably is the number one ranked team in the country, and then end up losing in overtime and lose 2 straight in really bad losses to UCLA and Northwestern. And Pat Kraft felt like he had to make a move. A couple of things, Jake. I think one, it did feel like after the Northwestern game that there weren't a ton of choices for Pat Kraft. It felt like the marriage just wasn't working anymore, and Pat Kraft had to make a really tough decision. I think at the end of the day, both things can be true, that Pat Kraft had to make a move while also saying, man, James Franklin did a phenomenal job at Penn State. And I posted this, Jake.
Both things are true. Both things are true.
They are true. And I really pray that when Coach Franklin makes his first appearance back in Happy Valley, that he gets the kind of ovation that he deserves for everything he did for that program. And looking forward, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts on this, Jake. I really think if you fire James Franklin with the kind of success that he had after being a play away from the national title game last year, there is a very small list of coaching candidates who you can actually go after for this job. I mean, you are not going after a group of 5 coach who's a fast riser. I don't think you're going after any coordinator who doesn't have head coaching experience. This is the big dogs of the big dogs you're going after. Sources have told me that this hire will be the highest paid coach in college football, and it might not even be that close with the kind of resources Penn State's going to use for this hire. I mean, Jake, it's the biggest names in the country that Pat Kraft's going to go after for this job. And I don't think anyone's really off the table. Pat Kraft is going to make those phone calls and find out really soon. But Jake, it's just such a small list of who's actually an acceptable hire after you move on from James Franklin.
Well, that's like the entire storyline here, is like James objectively, like he's as close to the ceiling as you could possibly. Yeah. If he had spiked up hair like you, his head would have been touching the ceiling, but he's bald, so his head wasn't touching the ceiling. I mean, that's how close he was to the ceiling. Yeah. And yet the standards are in Happy Valley, and because of the amount of money that they're spending too. And that's why this happened though, Adam, is Coach was given everything that he asked for. It was a veteran roster, and you got the highest paid defensive coordinator. You get a night game against Oregon. There's nothing more to give, and that's where the move had to be made in that sense. Yeah. So I love what you said, though, and you mentioned all those names, because a lot of the names that would take you where you want to go are already hired and making damn good money at a lot of their places. But what it sounds like is Pat Kraft, especially writing the check that they're writing to move on from this current staff, they're going to make coaches say no. They are going to make coaches say no. And frankly, like, that's what you do as a winning program. Michigan took the other route. They felt that, and Jim was, kind of grooming Sharon Moore to be the next head coach. So that was the other route. This route is, we're going to ruffle some feathers. We don't care. We're going to make coaches say no. And man, the amount of resources Penn State has, I mean, this is going to reset the market for other schools too, right? I mean, this is going to change everything in college football.
There's going to be a lot of coaches who get new contracts based on this Penn State coaching search, because you know how agents work in this game, Jake. Everyone's going to pretend or try to be a candidate for the job, even if they have no interest in taking the job. I think the other thing that's really interesting is James Franklin's going to be the hottest coach on the coaching carousel this offseason. Every job is going to look at him as a potential head coach, the way he's built Penn State, what he did at Vanderbilt, he's going to be a candidate for a lot of these jobs that are coming open across the country. Jake, I think you make a great point that the reason this happened when it did is because of the investment Penn State made this season in Happy Valley, hiring Jim Knowles as your defensive coordinator and making him the highest paid coach, keeping your roster together with Drew Aller, with Nick Singleton and Katron Allen. I think when you invest like that and you put all the chips on the table for a national title, when you fall short the way they did, I really do feel like Pat Kraft was left with no other decision after you lose to UCLA and Northwestern. Did you feel the same way, Jake? Because I do think a lot of the national media, and I'm a Coach Franklin defender till to the grave, but like a lot of the national media has been talking about this as crazy to fire James Franklin for not winning the big game. What really happened here is it wasn't about just the Oregon game. It was about how this team really lost belief and lost life and felt like they were playing an uninspired brand of football, Jake, for 2 weeks in a row there.
Yeah, no, frankly, man, it was like almost like an experiment. It was in what really, it's to no fault of his own for James is the way Michigan won and the way Ohio State won. We've been saying it. Penn State's following the same model. Both those programs spent a fortune on their rosters, on their staff, on their resources. They pushed all their chips on the table and said, we're doing this with the expectation we win a national title, and Michigan won. And then Ohio State won. And Ohio State's an important example here because they lost 2 heartbreakers, but they won every other game and they were able to bounce back. I think Penn State fans, as heartbreaking as that loss to Oregon was, could have swallowed it had Penn State responded and then went on to beat in Ohio State and or in Indiana later in the season. Yeah. But when you lose those other 2 games, you realize, oh, okay, well, the results are not matching the resources we're giving you. And that's why the move had to be made.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. And it's now Penn State for Terry Smith, their interim head coach. There's a lot to play for still this season. 3 losses. It's a talented roster. Sometimes when you make a coaching change like that, I know how upset the players are in the locker room, but it can kind of reinvigorate guys a little bit and wanting to
Terry
get back
Smith
on
is
track.
Loved by everybody,
Smith
right?
Beloved. And he's recruited half that roster, maybe more. He's really been the best recruiter for Penn State during his time there. He's been Coach Franklin's right-hand guy his entire tenure, been there since day one with James Franklin. Terry Smith played at Penn State. This locker room is going to rally around Terry Smith and try to win these next few games. Penn State's got a brutal stretch coming up, but it's going to be fun to see how this team responds and see if in the wake of adversity they can put some wins together.
It's a brutal stretch, but we have no idea what this team looks like playing their best football. And frankly, like what we've seen from the Penn State leading up to this is it was a team playing under clearly the most pressure of any team in college football. Like they were visibly carrying weight. And now that this move happens, man, these guys got nothing to lose. And in comes Terry Smith, a guy that's beloved by the locker room. He's got nothing to lose. I think that energy can mean a lot to the locker room. I've known Grunkenmeyer since he was in middle school. He was throwing passes to me in the backyard. He's from Central Ohio.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So he came out. I knew his mom knew a friend of mine, and we got connected. And they said, "Hey, I think my son's going to be a college recruit one day." And I'm like, "Wow, that's pretty cool." Yeah. A lot of parents say that, and then I'm seeing him climb. So I'm excited for him. Great opportunity. But I just want to see Penn State, man, get that first win. Just celebrate a hard-fought win. That could do a lot for a team. So,
Jake, who's your ideal candidate for the Penn State job? You have anyone in mind?
Man, honestly, like listening to, I really don't. Because when I hear some of the names tossed around, I'm like, man, what do you mean Marcus Freeman? He's happy there. But I realize now, like the mindset of Kraft is, hey, we have people here that want a championship, and we are going to write the check to get the guy that brings us a championship. I'm shocked that you can't say absolutely there's no coordinators, because look at Oregon with Dan Lanning, right?
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right. I just, given firing James Franklin and that this isn't a rebuild job, this is a roster and in a program that's ready to invest and is investing at the highest level in the country. So I really feel like Pat Kraft is going to be going after a small group of guys. But you're right. There are coordinators out there. Kirby Smart was a coordinator, became a head coach at Georgia. That's a route that you can go. maybe I should say a very small list of coordinators that would fit
Yeah.
mold. Maybe Will Stein at Oregon would be a candidate that gets involved here. But
Pat Fitzgerald was mentioned by
I saw Pat Fitzgerald's name. It's funny
yeah.
when I posted Marcus Freeman, I got a text from Jake right away. He's like, "Are you crazy? What are you talking about?"
I gotta be careful though, because I called you crazy with the Jim Knowles. I mean, you've been on it lately.
At the end of the day, it's going to be a selling job by Pat Kraft, as you just said, Jake. Hey, we're ready to invest. We'll make you the highest paid head coach in the country. Here's all the resources you're going to have. This roster's in a really good spot. Our NIL program, our revenue sharing is in a good spot. Do you want to come to Happy Valley and be a legend forever if you can win a national title right here? That's going to be a selling point. We've seen crazy things happen. Brian Kelly left Notre Dame for LSU. Again, Jim Knowles, Ohio State to Penn State. I think a lot of these are going to be long shots, but it's going to be a selling job for Pat Kraft just as much as candidates will be trying to sell themselves.
Well, this is what's crazy to me. Coaches are lunatics. They get into it because they think they're the alpha in the room and they want a chance to prove it. And the thing, what I'm hearing from Penn State is they're selling. It's going to be a quick meeting. It's going to be, we will give you everything you could possibly need to win a championship. You will have the highest paid roster, the highest paid staff. You will be the highest paid coach. We will get you every single thing you need. How many institutions are going to be able to match that offer?
Yeah.
A handful. Handful. Seriously, a handful. So it's going to be really interesting, man. It is going to be really interesting. And now, once again, the floor of the Big Ten of college football is being raised. The ceiling's being raised. Really, really interesting. All right, we do have to move on. We have some big games this weekend. Rivalry, USC, Notre Dame. Man, the Trojans look great. Whooping up on my Wolverines. That was tough to watch, but I give a ton of credit to Lincoln Riley. And I can't help but think, Adam, if they play like that, that is a playoff team. If they play like that all year, especially at the line of scrimmage, that is a playoff team. But a big test this weekend going to South Bend. I know we do the Fansville hype man moment. Maybe I'm burying the lead a little bit here.
No, I'm taking it.
Okay.
My Fansville hype man moment of this week is the USC Trojans. Jada Mayava, this USC program is absolutely rolling right now. I love to see it. When USC is good, it's great for college football. Offense is putting up 45 points a game. Jada Mayava's playing really well. I think he's got like third in the country in passing yards right now. Jake, I saw a stat. USC is averaging 8 yards per play on offense right now this season. I mean, that's almost an explosive every time you're snapping the football. This USC offensive line is playing physical and getting movement up front, which has been an issue for Lincoln Riley throughout his tenure. Still think the defense needs to show a little bit more consistency, but played well against Michigan. When they get takeaways, USC can bury you with points, man, just with how fast they can score on offense. They're playing with swagger. It's fun out there. They're playing dangerous. It feels like vintage USC. And this game against Notre Dame on the road is a huge test to see how real USC really is. Will be a good test for Jada Mayava against a solid defense on the road. That's been the issue in Lincoln Riley's tenure, winning on the road against ranked teams. Lincoln Riley's 1-5 away from home against AP ranked opponents. Huge game for USC. And if USC wins this one, Jake, the hype train is going to be foot on the gas forward.
Yeah. I mean, it's a must win too. I mean, Notre Dame's back. This is a must win for Notre Dame. You know, they're going to be all in. I mean, it's a must win for Lincoln Riley and the Trojans for every reason you just mentioned. There's a ton of storylines here of, hey, can they slow down CJ Carr and this Irish offense? What Notre Dame's defense, we've seen a few different versions, and they better bring it because, as you mentioned, the Trojan offense, they show up every single week, even in the loss on the road against Illinois. So it'll be a fun matchup, must win for both teams. I'm going to take my Fansville hype man moment and say the Wolverines. Man, it's coming off that loss, you got punched in the face. And Sharon Moore spoke to the media. He said, listen, it was fundamentals. We did not tackle well. We were not fundamentally sound in the trenches on either side of the ball, but we got it corrected. And I have no right to say that is not true. But this is the weekend that you prove whether that's true or not, because in comes Washington with Damon Williams coming off a ridiculous video game type performance against Rutgers. If you aren't fundamentally sound on defense, if you aren't tackling, he'll shred you for 500 yards and rip your heart out. So for Michigan, bounce back opportunity. For Washington, though, you look at if they win this game, Then they host Illinois, then a 3-game stretch of very winnable games before hosting Oregon. They are a playoff dark horse all of a sudden. So that's the fun part of this current college football playoff landscape, Bren, is you have a ton of teams that are saying at this point in the season, man, guys, if we play our best ball, we're going to be in the playoffs. And that creates magic down the stretch of the season.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun week, man. It's been a crazy college football season. Jake, even I do think that Penn State firing James Franklin kind of puts the heat on coaches all around the country as well.
Oh, yeah.
Saying like, hey, no one's safe out here. You better start winning. At the same time, I think that the days of, being undefeated and a one-loss team are probably over in college football. You can be a darn good team with 2-3 losses, still have a chance to make the playoffs. So a ton of big games. The Big Ten race is going to be so fun to watch down the stretch.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I completely agree with you. I appreciate you taking the time. I know you got to go. You got coaching meetings. You're still in that stretch of all those games.
Week,
so
man.
yeah, go log off, hop on those meetings, man, and I'll see you next week. Thank you guys for tuning into the show.